Hello and welcome. I am Antiderivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations number 54. Today we're reviewing the next original series episode in production order and the first episode produced for season 2, which is Catspaw. So today we have Pop Culture Curator and Scotty R37. Thank you guys for being here.
My pleasure. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all.
Thanks, Jill. Hey, Pop.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me today, Pop Culture Curator. I want to remind everybody to make sure you're also subscribed and hit the bell for Pop Culture Curator, because what are you reviewing tonight? It looked really interesting.
Oh, the movie The Incredible Shrinking Man, based on Richard Matheson's book.
That looks
an
amazing.
incredible movie.
And you also have Lost in Space on Monday, which I was on yesterday.
Yes,
Gilligan's
that was
Island.
fun.
Oh, yeah, it was. Gilligan's Island on Wednesdays, and sometimes
Yeah.
some rumblings from the lab, which are always fun.
Yes, I'm hoping to have one this weekend, time permitting. Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome. And also remember to subscribe to the Phantasmagorium show by Scotty R37. He and Kat are now, they've switched. They finished Batman. Now they're on to Spider-Man.
Yeah. A little more quippy, more fun. We're doing the 2002 Sam Raimi debut Spider-Man movie tomorrow night.
Good. And something might happen on Wednesday, and something's going to happen on Thursday. I'm not sure.
I haven't even decided.
There's so many things.
So many things.
But for reference to the production of these episodes, some of the facts I share come from Star Trek 365 by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. So the idea to use it, this particular source comes from R.M. Briggs, who you can find on the Clobberin Times channel. So make sure to subscribe to Clobberin Times and also read Raquel's amazing science fiction short stories. But before we get to the Halloween episode today, I wanted to spend a couple minutes remembering season 1 and give it a brief rating. We ran out of time last time, so I wanted to take care of it this time. Even with that said, I didn't actually get a chance to prepare a review for the season, except that I give it an A+ for me for trailblazing and popularizing so many interesting science fiction concepts. But I think what Scotty has to say about it is pretty great.
Yeah, I actually wrote a review. I did the homework. So I give it an A+, but here's what my scribbling said. Looking back on the origins of Star Trek is an amazing experience, whether you were looking back to the first time you saw it or looking back on old television to see what all the hubbub is about. The look back is entertaining. Introductions to characters that would become beloved pop culture icons, stories that brought incredible friends, formidable antagonists, and an entire galaxy of ideas and hopeful potential. From production design, score, acting, and writing, the first season of Star Trek is comfortingly timeless, a collaboration of many geniuses both in front of and behind the cameras. It shoulders rewatchability nearly 60 years after it originally aired. Remasters many years later were done to preserve the spirit of the show while never altering the original intent of those programs. Campy alien stories, thought-provoking investigations into how humanity will address the galaxy of the 23rd century, and what will the people who work there be like. It is inspiring and aspirational. It is also a bitchin' TV show with punches and ray guns and spaceships and short skirts. It looks great. The episodes themselves are wells of adventure with people we want to hang out with and who we want to be like. Nobody is perfect and nobody pretends to be, but all those imperfections cooperate to do the best they can in the face of the unknown. Still boldly going, and luckily there are 2 more seasons to explore, again for the first time.
Thank you, Scotty.
Thank you.
I think that's great. Pop Culture Curator, did you have a review for season 1 that you had saved from last time?
Yeah, it'll be off the cuff. I didn't get a chance to write it. But like you guys, I'll give it an A+. For what it established, it created history. It created what is even still today one of the most popular and enduring series ever made. It's still top when it comes to ratings and viewership in its syndication. I think we owe a lot to Lucille Ball, because through her excellent business skills and her craftsmanship and her fantastic nose for detail and quality. If it wasn't for her and her studio, we wouldn't have such a masterpiece to look back on. Desilu produced a lot of shows, but this seems to be the one that most people talk about. I know Mission Impossible is big with the movies with Tom Cruise, but Star Trek seems to be more endearing, and I think may have a wider audience. It may not make the money the Mission Impossible movies do, but I think that the fans are a lot more endearing, and I don't hear of a lot of people going to Mission Impossible conventions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah, I know. The cast was like lightning in a bottle. It was fantastic. I know the first few episodes they were kind of switching people in and out to get the footing just right, and once they did, and like for example, getting Dr. McCoy in there, DeForest Kelly, I think was a stroke of genius, and it really rounded out the trio of the main cast members. And I wasn't really disappointed. I can't think of. I know there may have been what some people consider as a few weak episodes in the first season, but overall, like I said, I'd give the entire season an A plus. They hit the ground running, unlike a lot of television shows these days. The writing was top notch. They actually pulled from a well of actually talented published sci-fi writers, and I sorely miss that sort of devotion and dedication these days. So, and I'm very excited about getting ready and looking forward to covering season 2 as well. Thank you, Jill. Sorry, a little tongue tied there.
No, that was perfect, and I think that's a great review, and definitely the alternative factor is the exception, not the rule, to season 1. And
That's funny. That's what crossed my mind when I was
season
saying that.
down.
Right? I know it's a little weak, but
I do love that you bring up Lucille Ball as as someone who helped the series at the beginning, but in the tail end, I think it goes to be Joe Trimble. As you said, the fans really helped get us the season 3, which helped put the series into syndication, which is why this Star Trek's been able to endure.
Yes, which gave us the conventions, which gave us the animated series, which gave us the movies, and the rest is history.
Okay, now we can check out Catspaw. But before we do, I have to say hello to the chat.
Ahoy.
Hello, chat.
Hello, chat.
Looks like a great turnout.
Right. Hello to Mark Harkness. He said, thought I'd drop in early, get an early high. And I see we have an episode that part of me is frustrated with, and yet part of me also makes me curious. That's a good way to put it. My mind wants to do a credits list for PS3 in the style of honest trailers. So far, I've got starring Robot Picard, Byron at Will, input data, make peace, not warp, and do you know the MacGuffin Man?
That's awesome.
But back to important things, DeSalle, a wonderful character, but one that I wish had gotten a different episode to shine in. He does have one really good moment in this episode.
Yes.
And hello to Franco Walker, Herc 130.
Hey, Franco. Hey, Herc.
Phantom Boomer. Hey. Great
Boomer.
to see you again.
Hello there.
And Kapla, Bird Prey 5.
Hope you're doing well, Bird.
Hello to Skogly.
Skogly.
And Series 1, Franco Walker gives Season 1 an A. Great.
Yes, I second that.
Euler Greg says cats are also a menace in today's episode.
Yeah, that's a reference to the movie tonight, Incredible Shrinking Man. So we're going to get 2 menacing cats today.
Yes. And size for cats, size does matter in terms of how big they are compared to their victims.
That's true. Yeah. This episode we get a giant cat, and in tonight's movie it's a small man with an average sized cat.
Mm-hmm. Right. We're able to keep house cats because they're so much smaller than us. They can't. Franco Walker says, speaking of cats, mine wants feeding. I think I'll feed her to the next door's dog. Oh no. Matt G just tipped $1.
Hey, Matt G.
Due to Jill's blunder, it's the anti-derivative Spartacus show.
Yay!
Yay! That's why I'm reviewing Spartacus this week, because I'm the April Fool. I can't change my name for 2 weeks. So Euler Greg says Trek and Hogan and MI Mission Impossible are an amazing legacy for a brilliant woman.
Yes,
And
among
hail
others.
to
Yes.
the comic relief crusader
Hey,
Hello there.
and Sean Carter.
John
Hello,
Carter.
Sean. Good to see you there.
Euler Greg
Indeed.
says Lucy gave us Mannix, which is really good, and launched so many detective series like Rockford Files.
Yeah.
So you should count the series created because of her.
Oh yeah, that would take us a few minutes.
Great. So, with that said, let's check out Catspaw. I've got some slides here with her at the communications console here. Looks a little different.
Maybe I was thinking maybe they modified it for this episode because they knew they were going to be having more close-ups, perhaps.
Maybe. Yeah, it feels different. I know what's going on. But in this case, I think that they chose the broadcast order right to put their best foot forward in broadcasting Amok Time first before this and saving this for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Yes, it makes a good Halloween episode.
It does. This episode first aired on October 27th, 1967, even though it was first filmed in May. And so it is the only Star Trek episode in the original series, specifically singled out as a holiday episode. And it's my favorite holiday, Halloween. And it was directed by Joseph Pebney, who's directed other Star Trek episodes. And written by Robert Bloch, who's written a couple other much better episodes than this one.
And also, he's also known for Psycho, the movie, and several other big ones.
Right, Psycho.
Oh, wow.
But also Star Trek episode, What Little Girls Are Made Of. And what's the other one? I don't remember.
It sounds
But-
like you're not liking this one at its best, Jill.
Oh, well, I don't hate it, but it's just this story is based on one of Robert Bloch's old short stories called The Broomstick Ride, published in Super Science Fiction, 1957.
Yes. Apparently, he was friends with H.P. Lovecraft. So that's what we will see references in this episode to the old ones, where H.P. Lovecraft often mentions in his stories as well.
Oh,
And the other episode that he wrote was Wolf in the Fold.
thank you. I like that one too. It has Piglet.
It
That was
does have
accurate.
Piglet. I forgot about that. Red Jack.
We start the episode with Uhura contacting Jackson, who reports he's the only one to beam up. But Kirk wants to know where Sulu and Scotty are. There's Jackson. He seems okay, but then he keels over and he's dead.
There goes Jackson.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how usually when the episodes start or begin, it starts with them arriving at a planet. But it's like here we're already in the middle of a mission. So it kind of left mystery to there of what had happened previously. So I thought that was an unusual choice.
Sure, you're right. This does play like more of a mystery kind of deal. Definitely. And I didn't take a screenshot of it, but this is the first episode in production where DeForest Kelley is added to the opening credits.
Finally.
Well deserved.
Oh, and with this we hear the character Korub for the first time through the mouth of Jackson, who warns Kirk away from the planet through threat of death.
It's a curse.
And there's a bit of a sad story here for the actor for Korub, Theo Marcus. He died in a car accident just 1 month after this episode aired.
Yeah, I saw
Unfortunately.
that.
Yeah, driving under the influence.
Oh, was that why? I didn't catch
Yeah.
that part, that reason. But then we have the first captain's log. Is it the only one? I don't know. It's the only one I got. Could you read it, please, Pop Culture?
Absolutely. Captain's log, start date. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm trying to remember, but 3018.2. Crewman Jackson is dead, and there are no apparent physical causes. Mr. Scott and Mr. Sudo are still out of touch on the planet below, leaving Assistant Chief Engineer DeSalle in command of the Enterprise. I'm beaming down to the planet's surface to find my 2 missing crewmen and discover what killed Jackson.
Yeah. So
And
this. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
One of the notes that I read earlier on this episode was NBC apparently did not want to show a woman in charge of the Enterprise. Otherwise, it would have been Uhura.
Yeah, exactly. Even though Uhura, according to the show Bible and according to Gene, Uhura is supposed to be fourth in command after Kirk, Spock, and Scotty.
Right, because everybody's down on the planet. Yeah. It was basically everybody's down on the planet in this episode, so I thought that was odd.
Very odd. And kind of, but it was like I was saying last night on your show. I understand it's a product of its time, even though it's wrong and not very Star Trek to not give her the role she was meant to have on the ship.
Yes.
But this kind of takes away what Gene wanted for her. And so it wasn't because of Gene, it was because of the network. They were meddling and everything.
Sexist.
Mm-hmm. But I guess I forgive it because I like DeSalle, and a few years after the show airs, we get the animated series in which we finally do get to see her lead the bridge the way she's supposed to.
And in future Trek, where we see female captains finally.
Yes. As soon as the movies.
Yes.
And I do like DeSalle though. Anyway, he does his job pretty well for the time we know him. But I think this is the last time we see him anyway.
I believe so.
And there's fog on the planet. There shouldn't be any fog based on their survey, but they find life form readings, so they follow that.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, Walter Koenig was still growing his hair out, so obvious wig here for this episode. This is our first episode that we get to see, or that actually in production order that has Chekov.
And I think this is the first episode of Star Trek that has the Big Seven, like the full crew that would go on to carry through the movies.
It is.
Yes, you're right, Scotty. So on their way to the life form readings, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are accosted by the witches from Macbeth. But but what they say, they tell Captain Kirk to go back because of the curse. And
they're based on the I guess they're based on the story Macbeth.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be 3 floating heads, but the effects didn't quite work out. You can obviously see that they're wearing black dresses.
Well, that would have been a little creepier if they were just decapitated like that.
All right. Well, disembodied, I guess, is what they would have called it.
Right.
Well, and also that's one of the things. Like they do clean up the aliens, the marionette aliens at the end a bit.
The wires.
But they don't alter the original intent. So even with this special effect, it's not like they said, well, if it was supposed to be severed heads, then let's make them severed heads. They didn't do that in the remaster. It still looks as it sort of did originally, and I admire that about the upgrades.
Right. In fact, if anything, with the high definition, you could make out their clothing even more.
Mm-hmm. Remember the curse. Winds shall rise, and the fog descend. So leave here all.
Or meet your end.
Spock's observation.
Yes, I love Spock's snark in this episode. When he says, very bad poetry, Captain. But what's important here is that the witches aren't real, is his actual report. And then there's a castle.
Now this is very different from the original, if I recall.
And even if I don't like
Yeah, the
some of the
establishing shot.
story of the episode, I really like lots of the shots. I think this is nice.
Yeah, the establishing shot from a distance is new. That one.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the music in this episode too.
Mm.
The score is really quite jazzy and striking.
But one of the things that bothers me is that even though they've been scanning for life before, for absolutely no reason, the tricorders can no longer pick up the life form. We don't find out really why. And there's a cat.
There's a cat.
It's got a big gem on its collar.
Her collar. All cats are girls.
All of them? Even
All
the
of them.
Male cats?
There's no such thing. All dogs are boys and all cats are girls.
I think you might have been misinformed about your animal biology.
That's where I read. I heard that somewhere.
And so they make lots of references to Halloween in this episode. Trick or treat.
Well, it's interesting. Spock had not heard of it, even though he's supposed to really know human history. So it's almost like leading us to believe that by the time this episode takes place, trick or treating may have been phased out, and that actually looks like it may be inevitable.
Oh yeah, I do get less and less trick or treaters every year, but I don't know if it's going to be phased out.
I'm sure you'll see it in your lifetime. I'm sure where there won't be any more trick or
no.
treaters. The paranoia
What?
is out there.
I'm just going to have a lot of candy then.
Well, it'll probably morph into a different type of celebration. I'm sure candy will still be base, but it'll probably be more like having friends and family over rather than strangers going up to your door. I'm pretty sure that's something they're going to phase out.
No, the whole reason I love trick or treating is that I don't have to have friends and family over. I just have random strangers begging for candy at my door.
I know.
And they don't stay. They go away.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's the charm of it. And kids love it.
Yeah.
The parade of costumes.
No, they can't. They can't do that. That's terrible. I don't like the story.
Well, and also just based
that's not
on
right.
based on Spock's lack of knowledge on Halloween, it probably fits in the same gap of knowledge that he has about marshmallows.
Right. Well, he was fooled by McCoy's fooling with the library computer.
That is true.
And this is Chekov's first appearance in the series in production order. And so I'll read from the book about this, what it says about Chekov. So it says,
We need a beetle in here. Get us a beetle.
Yes, they wanted to capture the youth, even though they didn't realize that Star Trek did that already. The second season of Star Trek introduced fans to Ensign Pavel Chekov, who would permanently fill what previously had been the rotating position of ship's navigator, with an eye toward attracting more teenage girls to Star Trek's audience. Gene Roddenberry had decided to add another character to the bridge crew, someone young and slightly irreverent, someone beetle-ish, or at least monkey-ish. But a timely snipe against the series from the official newspaper of the Communist Party would transform Roddenberry's vision of a cheeky Brit into a humorously ethnocentric Russian. Star Trek, it seems, had leaked through the Iron Curtain. An article appeared in Pravda, slamming the typically capitalistic mindset behind the show. Why, the paper wondered, were there no Russian crewmen aboard the Enterprise? Were Americans so ill-informed about the achievements of the Soviet space program? It was a valid point and an unintentionally clever suggestion. In the same way that the presence of Uhura and Sulu served to demonstrate that integration would be commonplace in the not-so-distant future, the presence of a Russian officer would demonstrate that petty disagreements between Earth's nations would become a thing of the past. The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which debuted in 1964, 2 years before Star Trek, already had blazed a trail in that direction, with the character of Russian agent Ilya Kuryakin, Clearly, the viewing public had no problem accepting characters with different ideologies, working side by side for a common cause, particularly if they were cute. Thus, Walter Koenig was cast in the role of Ensign Pavel Chekov. Roddenberry still liked the idea of the character sporting a Beatles-style haircut, even if the character had a Muscovite accent. So the actor wore a mop-top wig until his own hair grew to an impellingly shaggy length. And so we get to see how long that takes for his hair to grow out.
That's why
By-
production order is so fun.
That's right.
And it's funny because, like you said, it was what they thought would attract the younger girls in, but girls liked Spock. It didn't matter. I mean, sure, they brought
That's
in
right.
Chekov, but yeah, girls liked Spock.
Girls do like Spock, and I know that for a fact. But we do have some chat here. Let's see. Oh, hey, Ranker Steve is here. Hey, Ranker Steve.
Hello,
Great
Ranker
to see you
Steve.
here. Your Herc 130 says to Ranker Steve, your tips on being a man have been real helpful lately.
Oh,
And yeah, Rancor Steve has a Thursday show called Manorama.
very cool.
Admiral Teague says, I love how very, very different these aliens are. Me too.
Yeah. I used to make fun of them, but I like them now.
Oh, I still make fun of them. Little Muppets.
Fair enough. Yep.
But I do like that they're different too.
Hey, Dalek.
Hey, Dalek. Yeah, hey, Dalek 451.
Hello,
Where are the
Dalek. Good
bunny
to see
ears?
you.
Mark Harkness says, hence my conflict. The Sal did well, but it still should have been a hers moment. Yeah, that is a conflict there. I do like there's nothing, you can't get mad at DeSalle. He was just doing his job. And Disney Sheep Herder says, hail and howdy all.
Hey, Diz.
Just enough time to hit the like button. At work, but can't stay.
That reminds me, hit the like button, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. This episode really works, but has the charm of episodes like The Apple, says Admiral Teague.
Yeah.
And Franco Walker loves the remastered version. They stick to the original look and feel. It's just cleaner and brighter.
I agree.
And Mark Harkness says DeForest Kelley already had a credit playing a ship's captain in March 1958 episode of Silent Service. Ooh.
Very cool.
I'll have to check that out.
And hello to Kronos.
Hey, Kronos.
Great to see you. And yes, right now my name is Antiderivative Spartacus due to an April Fool's error in which it turns out that I am the fool for not realizing that you can't change your name more than 2 times without having to wait a couple weeks before changing it back. So it's my April Fool's name until
Backfired.
the 15th. It's great. This is fun. So I'll be reviewing Spartacus on Friday.
Nuclear vessels.
I knew somebody was going to want to say that.
Skipton.
And Alameda.
That's what I said. Alameda. Where is Alameda?
Girl is Random Thought says, damn, headphones died. All right. Oh, no. Okay.
Activate chipmunk mode. Oh, nice.
Go ahead and read it, please.
Mark Harkness says Nimoy and Shatner both appeared in the same episode of Man from U.N.C.L.E. Nimoy as a bad guy and Shatner helping the heroes.
You know, I love that episode so much. There's actually a scene in it that I want to clip for my channel to play it sometimes because he's really great. He's a party animal in that episode, Shatner.
I'll have to check it out for sure.
Krona says, I'm not a fan of re-education centers. Just let those hooks do their work.
If there are no follow-up questions, yes.
And hello to Captain Fandom Nerd.
Hey, Captain Fandom Nerd.
And so we get more Halloween references once we get back on the planet. Dust, cobwebs. Halloween is right. And so the black cat is ahead of them, and then the stone floor gives away and dumps them into the dungeon.
This is great. I love them with the shackles and everything. And then when Kirk looks over to McCoy and he's like, "Bones, Doc." He just, because of the skeleton, he doesn't. Anyway.
Well, yeah, we got a skeleton and an iron cage and another one right
See, there it is. Yeah.
PvP yesterday said it's bones next to bones. Dungeons, curses, skeletons, and iron maidens. They're all earth manifestations, but why?
You can see where the top of the head was separated from the rest of the head. So it looks like they probably used a medical type skeleton when it was used for medical labs.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can definitely also see the top where you can take the top off and put a brain inside.
Yes, exactly. Like a lid, yes.
So what was I going to say? So the reason why it's like humans, well, I'm just going to skip right to it. It's because these aliens are telepathic, and so they're reading their subconscious, and that's why.
The Twilight of Consciousness.
Yeah. None of this parallels any human development, says Kirk. It's more like a human nightmare. And then we get to see Scott and Sulu, but they're like zombies.
And fans of the Where's Scotty's Finger game, this is one of the few times that you actually do take note of his missing finger.
I missed it.
Yep, and Sulu's only line is "aha" when he gets ready to attack them. Scotty has very few lines. Yeah, Scotty as well. Very few lines in this episode.
Well, because they're all controlled this whole episode.
Yes. And we meet Sylvia and Kolob.
Yeah.
We're not Sylvia yet, but Kolob. Kolob?
I think it's Kolob.
I think it's Kolob.
Kolob.
Mm-hmm. And he wants to know why they're resisting and why they question everything. And Kirk's like, because someone died.
Yeah.
Dude.
We really don't have time for this, man. Someone's dead.
I was wondering if I could share something here. I gotta have a bit of trivia that goes with this scene, courtesy of Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Because this is why this episode is kind of slow for me. Demons and animal forms. Yes, please share something.
All right, I'll pull it up here. Give me just a moment. Go ahead and continue, and I'll tell you when I have it ready. Sorry, I wasn't.
That's okay.
I thought I had it ready, and I guess I didn't.
I think it has to do with Korob's outfit, right?
Yes.
Is it? Nice.
And Korob admits that they're not natives when Spock says there's never been any life forms on Pyrus 7 before. And then he makes a nice spread, because why not? Because these aliens, we've seen this before, they're a little bit like Trelane. But nobody wants to have any food, so he changes it to some gemstones. And here's what Pop Culture Curator has to share.
This is from season 3 of Gilligan's Island.
Oops. I'll share it again.
That was pretty quick, I guess. I accidentally hit stop sharing. I didn't mean to do that. Let me do that again. I'll make it fast.
Sure.
There we go. It's only 2 seconds with no sound, but you can see that suit looks highly familiar. It was used on Gilligan's Island before it was used on Star Trek.
Oh wow, yeah, it is a lot looser on Gilligan, of course.
Yeah, in other words, tighter on Cora, but yes, but yep, looks like the same outfit. Even though they're two different studios, I thought that was interesting.
It is
Those poor people.
yes, right, from Galaxy Quest. But that's part of this episode. They did a lot of things in the budget to save on money, and that was one of them.
I like the bribing with the bubbles. We could manufacture tons of these on our ship.
Despite not knowing about Halloween, Spock does know about familiars.
He's a Harry Potter fan.
Probably. He does like to read ancient Earth literature.
True.
He says, demons in animal form sent by Satan to serve the wizard. So this is the part of the episode where they learn about the telepathy.
How does he,
what?
how does he pronounce telekinesis?
Oh, right. Well, I have that here in
Oh,
a
okay.
bit.
Yeah, it wasn't correct, but okay. Telekinesis or something like that.
Corb tells them they're brave for being loyal and coming back for their friend. And the cat leaves, and a few minutes later, a dark-haired woman comes in. Okay, so we've seen her already.
Sylvia.
So we know that she's the cat. Other than knowing they're not of the solar system, she finally reveals that the aliens can enter the minds of others, revealing that she controls Scott and Sulu. And Kirk throws some gems in Scott's face to get the phaser. But this isn't enough to save Scotty and Sulu, because then Sylvia holds up a little Enterprise model on a chain and shoves it into a flame to make the Enterprise go through this intense heat.
And Gene Roddenberry eventually donated that to the Smithsonian.
Mm-hmm. She explained how Jackson died. In the mythology of your race, this is called sympathetic magic. Jackson, the crew member who returned to your ship, you wondered what killed him. I made an image of him. In the essence of my thoughts, the image was Jackson. And when I killed the image and knew that it was dead, he died. And Kirk says, you can't think a magic to death. I mean, you can't think a man to death. And that does show just how silly this episode is. But here's what the book says about the silliness.
Okay.
Page 156. Catspaw, written by Robert Bloch, shares a number of common elements with Broomstick Ride, a short story that Bloch penned in 1957. In Broomstick Ride, a starship commander on a survey mission comes across a strange world inhabited by superstitious peasants. Their somewhat more advanced ruler, a bevy of witches, and the dark master of the Sabbath. After witnessing demonstrations of what appear to be old Earth-style black magic, the commander departs, unconvinced of the authenticity of what he's seen. The master of the Sabbath and the planet's ruler, worried that the commander's report will bring more Earth ships, burn an effigy of the spaceship, which, although thousands of miles away from the planet, explodes. Bloch obviously drew upon Broomstick Ride for his second Star Trek script, but he worked within the required Star Trek formula, providing scientific explanation for the teleplay's odder happenings and Gothic accoutrements. Rather than minions of mythological Dark Lord, Korob and Sylvia were visitors from another galaxy who took up residence on the Pyrus as the advance team for an invading force. They sought to drive away the crew of the Enterprise by exploiting the visitors' ancient fears, although they were misinformed about the beliefs and the predilections of 23rd century humans, as Trelane in The Squire of Gothos. Their magic is actually transmuter-based thought conversion technology, much more plausible than black magic. Okay.
Yeah, using the superstitions and amplifying it with technology. This seems like magic, or you must be godlike. But no,
Right.
it's technology. Technology enhances.
Right, exactly. That is why it reminds me of Trillian. It reminds Paula of that too. But Kirk can finally communicate with the ship, trying to talk to the Sol into how he can protect the ship from the heat. Sylvia takes the Enterprise away from the fire, and the temperature goes back to normal too.
We're burning up.
Korb says you've seen our science, but like Kirk says, all they've shown is really mumbo jumbo. And okay, here's how he says telekinesis. He says
Right.
telekinesis.
I can assure you that is not regional pronunciation.
He says they achieve things with their minds instead of tools, which seems but they do find out later, of course, that the aliens do have tools. They have the transmuter magic wand thing. This episode is so wacky.
And he's henpecked.
These close-ups are crazy. They just, I don't know. Korob looks so just weird because they do this like close-up on him every time there's a reaction from Sylvia, and it's just like, what? Craziness.
Right, he's henpecked. It's funny.
You talk too much. Kirk says the ship will look for them. So as a response, Korab puts the model of the Enterprise in a block of resin. I guess it's resin. With the crew unable to get out of this force field.
Oh, and so they read some kind of force field. It doesn't come from anywhere. It just appeared. And DeSalle, being the assistant chief engineer, has an idea in terms of diverting power to the hull and trying to put a dent in the shielding.
Yeah. You want to read it, Scotty? I have it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's DeSalle's best moment.
All right. But it's there and it's real. If it's real, it can be affected. And he clicks the button. Engineering, stand by to divert all power systems to the outer hull. Prepare impulse engines for generation of maximum heat directed as ordered. Maybe we can't break it, but I'll bet you credits to Navy beans we can put a dent in it.
And
which I thought was a nice updating of is it dollars to Navy beans? I think is the actual thing.
Oh, I didn't know there was a difference to the original saying.
It's just sort of a 23rd century upgrade, futurizing the traditional saying.
I do like that they upgrade it.
And this is another great part with the skeleton acting, is that Kirk sort of emulates how that skeleton is hanging. It's really funny. He sort of cocks his head to see if it would be comfortable to stay that way, and then he's like, no. Shakes his head. Again, Shatner's great in this episode.
I missed that little detail. Nice. Spock tries to explain by saying the aliens are recreating the subconscious myths and symbols, dungeons, castles, black cats from human mythology, but Kirk and Spock are sure that they're very alien, even though these are Earth-like things. And then
Kronos is taken off. See, Kronos.
Okay. Oh, okay. Kronos is leaving.
Take care, Kronos.
I'm so glad you could stop by. That's a good reminder here. Let's see where I am. My goodness.
Scrolling.
And Gorilla says, "Hey, Franco," and they are just on the charger. I don't know what that means.
The headphones?
Oh yeah, the headphones. Thank you. And Admiral Teague says, "This episode is so X-Files in a weird way." I only saw the first couple seasons of X-Files, or the first season. I don't know. There's so many episodes.
Yeah, I'm working on the first season now.
Mark Harkness says, but whose subconscious did they tap? The Macbeth bit suggests it was Scotty.
It's a good, yeah, I would accept that.
Franco Walker says they can't read Spock's brain, though, because he's special. Yes, that's true. He has defenses against such things. And Cronus says Satan is not a bad dude. He's just misunderstood. And Admiral Teague says to Mark Harkness, I think they got Macbeth from Kirk. We see him demonstrate extensive Shakespeare knowledge in Conscience of the King.
A lot of Satan fans in the chat.
Yeah, right? Skogley says, so the story goes straight from the horse's mouth in the Bible. And Cronus is happy he can still laugh.
Yeah.
Dalek 451 says there are no familiars in Harry Potter except, hey, wait a minute, Dalek. Every student who enters Hogwarts gets to pick a pet, an owl, a cat, or a toad. If that's not a familiar, if that's not the kids picking their familiars, then I don't know what is.
I took a stab at it. I was going to apologize and say I don't know Harry Potter all that well, but all right, if you say so.
Maybe they don't function as a regular familiar, but they are your pet. And they do things for you. So I don't know how much more you need.
Fair enough.
Admiral Teague says, who didn't want this small enterprise as a keychain to hang from your rear view window? I want it now.
Yeah, it was like the first Hallmark ornament.
I just don't want to take down my TARDIS. I got my TARDIS hanging from my rearview mirror.
They're affected by the emotions of having more human-like bodies. Yeah, they become more emotional and more hedonistic. Yes, they enjoy the sensations. We haven't even gotten to the sensations.
I know.
Right, and this is not the first episode to touch on that, where another alien takes form of a human and then starts to enjoy the senses.
And oddly enough, they're extra galactic beings as well. They're Kelvins.
Yep.
Yeah, Kelvins. In by any other name.
Grilla's random thought says automatic F because we didn't get a he's dead Jim, and Kirk responding no shit Sherlock. No, yeah, he doesn't. I noticed that when Jackson died, we didn't get a he's dead Jim.
It's
But we
such a
got that from
disappointment.
I know we got it from Enemy Within for the little puppy.
Herc, I don't know what a navy bean is, but I do recognize again the old timey saying, and I just figured it was old timey. I don't know what a navy bean is.
And Phantom Boomer likes beans.
I like beans.
Admiral Teague says, Thing has issues with recognizing me. Tried triggering it. Like Picard, it's not the smartest or fairest of AIs. And the Comic Relief Crusader says, every time I see Chekov, I see Alfred Bester of the Psycorp from Babylon 5.
Yeah. I think Walter Koenig is the primary reason that I'm even interested in Babylon 5.
Dalek 451 says cats and toads are mostly pets. Owls are used for carrying wizard mail. I'm going to think about this.
Okay.
Phantom Boomer says, beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you chew.
This is a true story. More of a warning than a limerick.
Korab and Sylvia have an exchange where Korab reminds Sylvia of her mission. But she's gone insane with the sensation of touch. She loves having it. She's never had it before. And so it's something very special to her. She likes touching and she wants to continue doing it. She likes the sensations. But Korab doesn't like how she's torturing her specimens, the humans. And Korab says that goes against what their people live by, which is some proof that the aliens actually do have some kind of morality, but Sylvia is ignoring it or forgetting it just because she wants to keep feeling all of these feelings.
Yes, she goes straight to the physical sensations and gets lost in their seduction. I am a woman now. All women.
And of course, the first thing she adopts is vanity.
Definitely my favorite sin.
So, So we finally get to see that the magic is performed by the assistance of this magic wand transmuter thing, and Kirk questions Sylvia's womanhood. So Kirk takes advantage of her desire for closeness and sensation to pry vital information from her when she's most vulnerable. So Sylvia says, "There's no real damage to the mind, Captain, simply a drain of knowledge and will." And Kirk says, "You don't call that damage?" And she says, "Why should I? You'd know if you had compassion. A woman should have compassion. But I forget, you're not a woman."
Oh, but you're wrong, Captain. I am a woman. I'm all women. Do you like what you see? I can be other women. Would you like me to dance? I will. Sylvia.
And Sylvia does have some care for Kirk. She doesn't want to probe his mind. She wants to join with it. So this is the first time something like a mind meld is mentioned away from a Vulcan. And what is it, Pop Culture Curator?
Well, I was going to say she was her and Leonard Nimoy starred together in a season 3 episode of Mission Impossible.
Oh, her and Leonard Nimoy. Cool. What's her name? Her real name?
Give me a second. But I was gonna bring that up. I should have brought that up.
Antoinette Bauer.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you.
That's what I get for multitasking here.
Wow.
Yeah,
What an interesting fashion choice. I like how she does the little swivel, the 20-minute workout thing. Anyway.
They kiss until she realizes that in his mind he isn't feeling anything that she's feeling. So she knows that that he's just using her.
It's a bad wig on her too. It's very obvious.
This sound. Oh yeah, let's get back to the ship. And Kirk counters that she's been using him and his crew. So that's fair. So DeSalle makes a dent, and the force field is starting to give way to the heat that the Enterprise is using to melt it. And Korab rushes in, releases the prisoners. "I've released the model of your ship from the crystal, although they would have freed themselves soon. And so then they're not your men anymore. They belong to Sylvia. I can no longer control them or her. She's irrational. The strain of adopting to your form, the insatiable desire for sensation and experience. She's a great danger, and it was not necessary. We could have entered your galaxy in peace." And so then we get to see the cat. Where's the cat?
Here comes the cat.
Here comes the cat. It's supposed to be a giant cat.
Very clearly just a regular cat.
Well, Spock says the cat is the most ruthless, terrifying of animals, as far back as the saber-toothed tiger. but what we get is a house cat. It's a cute little house cat. I don't know. All we need is a laser pointer.
Or a cucumber.
So the giant cat pads down the corridor as they retreat back to the dungeon. Spock goes through the hole in the ceiling that they originally fell through. And
Yay!
I was reminded of the animated series. So
That's right.
Oddly enough, a better special effect.
It looks more like a giant cat.
True.
And that, of course, was from Once Upon a Planet from the animated series. Here's what the book says about the giant cat effects and the budget for the episode in general. Oops, my book's falling apart. Oh no.
Well-used book.
Yeah, well, very much loved, but not taken care of. It's falling apart everywhere. Okay. Typically, the start of a new season is the only conceivable time when spare production cash is available to embellish the look of a somewhat needy episode. But Star Trek producers never had a great deal of money in their coffers, and a lot of what they did have was allocated to the upcoming production of Amok Time. The effects in Catspaw reflect the tight budget, the real forms of Korab and Sylvia, an odd cross between tiny bird-like creatures and crustaceans, were depicted through the use of marionettes constructed from pipe cleaners, crab claws, and other bits of flotsam and jetsam. The strings, alas, were a bit too evident, even though the pair was never seen in tight close-up. Sylvia's rampage as a fearsome giant cat was primarily conveyed by sending a trained kitty down a miniature version of the castle corridor, and by casting its shadow on the wall in front of Kirk. It was neither convincing nor scary, despite the script's attempt to make it so. Why a giant cat? Kirk asks Spock. Racial memories, Spock replies. The cat is the most ruthless, most terrifying animals as far back as a saber-toothed tiger. Still, Catspaw was unique in one sense. Although it was the first episode produced for Star Trek's second season, it didn't air until the final week in October, just in time for Halloween. And that apparently was a deliberate choice. For the first and only time in its history, Star Trek produced a seasonally themed episode complete with black cats, skeletons, iron maidens, haunted castles, and 3 creepy witches who recite, as Spock observed, very bad poetry.
So I guess Korab is just subdued here. He's not dead because we don't see him die until later.
Yeah.
I like how Kirk he's setting up the bed so he can trampoline out of the dungeon.
Well, right, because Spock tells him to have a little bit more alacrity.
What does alacrity mean? Let me
It
see.
means eagerness,
Is it? Okay.
willingness, speed, or quickness. Liveliness.
Readiness.
There we are. Thank you. I knew it meant pick it up, Jim, but I just wanted to know the specifics. Thank you.
But yeah, he uses the bed frame as a trampoline to get through. And the Enterprise crew fight each other.
Although we don't get that score yet.
No.
Yeah, not very convincing stuntman for McCoy, but I'll accept it.
Yeah, Kirk knocks McCoy out, and Spock neck pinches Scott.
And Kirk knocks out McCoy twice, doesn't he?
Oh, well, I think... Does he? Does he have to do it twice?
Maybe. I think he does.
Kirk has to do some martial arts with Sulu.
I should have gotten the video clip, but when he punches McCoy, his fist had to be at least 8 inches from DeForest Kelly's face.
Oh, yeah.
They should have realized that considering it was on camera. But, oh well.
Yeah.
There's a lot more things to be concerned with this episode, I guess.
Yeah, Sylvia admits the transmitter is an amplifier to their mind's power, which needs human dreams and ambitions so that they can feel these things.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's when Kirk realizes all he has to do to end all of this is just smash the damn thing. So he does.
Boom.
Just like with Trelane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all they did was destroy the replicator thing. But for Trelane, I felt more like it was science, like this was a machine that used matter to create. But this is just a magic wand.
Yeah.
I don't know. They notice everything's gone except for these little guys.
The sounds made were by hatchling alligators crying for their mother.
Is this real?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, neat.
Now, this is where Spock says it's too bad we weren't able to study them, and his tricorder is hanging right there on the side. But okay.
It's true. What did he pick up with this tricorder? I guess nothing.
Well, and they start to smoke and dissolve and stuff, and so they can't even take the specimens.
Right, I thought it's okay they died. We could still take them with us, but then they start disintegrating.
Poor
So I guess
Kolo.
not.
Korb, he was actually, and he was making a turn for the better. He was actually a nice guy.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't too bad, but that's a weird episode. We did it.
There it is. Yes. Like, all in all, the episode is basically people are missing. They go to the planet, and then Korb and Sylvia explain that they're from another galaxy. Sylvia wants the sensations of life. Kirk says no, and then she says, "I'm going to kill you." And then Kirk is taken away, and she wants him to like be his familiar, I guess. And Kirk breaks the wand, and we're off to our next adventure. There you go. That's the back of the VHS.
Hey, why
box
didn't
right
I just
there.
have you do the recap? That was
'Cause
a lot quicker.
It would have only taken about 3 minutes tops.
Well, not only did they introduce Chekov in this episode, but he actually had a pretty big role. He had a lot of lines.
That's true, but his face was just really oddly lit the whole episode with the bright light in his face, and everything else was dark. It was really kind of an odd position to put him in. But yeah, he was good.
Well, and it also establishes Chekov as being sort of the backup science officer as well. And Desal even says, if you can't recalibrate your instruments, and he's like, I can do it, sir. I am not that green. And so it is the first time we see Chekov, and he gets sort of dressed down for being the new kid on the block.
That's true. But my final thoughts for this episode. Do you want to review it?
Sure, yeah.
We have another godlike, Trelane-like alien with telepathic powers already established as existing in Star Trek, but this episode explains almost nothing except they're aliens, they can control and read your mind, and that might be interesting if they did anything interesting with it. But we just kind of meander around everywhere while Sylvia is enjoying some sensations. Just really extremely. So Kirk learns, since she's easily manipulated, Kirk learns about how to get his crew back. Luckily, the mind invasions of these aliens don't cause any permanent brain damage to anybody in the crew. This episode isn't really bad, but I'm struggling to figure out why it's any good. We don't get to see her in charge, even though she's fourth in line for command. But I don't blame that on the show. I blame it on the network. They don't really have an interesting method of defeat. Like we said, it's the same way they defeated Trelane, but less interesting. Just smashing the transmuter.
Well, I do like, and this is something I was discussing earlier with I think it was Captain Infinity, and we were talking about how the deaths in new Star Trek are sort of like tossed off. Like it's just like, yeah, someone died, we're done. But I like how even at the end of this episode, there's a recap, and they're like, it's like none of this was ever real. And Kirk says it was real. Jackson is dead, and so there is weight with the danger. of being a Starfleet officer. And if a crewman dies, it's important to the captain, which I really
Well,
really adore.
Well, you're absolutely right. That is a really great point in favor of this episode, in that life is taken very seriously in Star Trek, and Jackson is remembered, even though he was red shirt and just someone to die to tell us the stakes at the beginning of the episode. He's not just taken away. So that's probably why I don't hate this episode or anything. It's just like, what's going on? What is this episode? It's a spooky haunted house, and aliens are there.
And aliens were there.
Yeah, I think you can kind of tell that it's a story. Like you mentioned that Block had written this previously for a different format, so you could tell it was kind of shoehorned in and made to fit into a Star Trek surrounding. So I guess that's why it's kind of a little off.
But to Scotty's point, the essentials of Star Trek are there. The characters feel like the characters. Spock's lines they're funny, but they're not out of character. They're clever. and at least the magic isn't magic, it's technology.
Yes.
And so I give this episode a C+.
Oh wow, okay. I give it a B-, but I think I pop it up like half a point just for Bill in this episode. I really think it just feels fun. It's a more whimsical thing, especially after having so many serious episodes of life and death and blindness and people. Oh my stars! And yeah, this one just feels a little bit more fun, and I like it. And also, anytime you get all 7 of the Enterprise crew, I'm happy. Even though they weren't on the bridge together, I did enjoy seeing them all here, and I can't wait to see, though there are few, more of them.
Yeah, I agree. Kirk's makeout scene was the most fun part.
Well, and when he's like, even his bemused nature when he's in the shackles, I just like that, and the interplay between Spock and Kirk.
True.
But yeah, B-, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it a B- as well. A B-, I would say. B- C+. I'm kind of like on the fence. It's not really bad. It's not one of my favorites, but it had the fantastic elements. As a kid, I liked it for the Halloween element and angle. Upon what I hadn't seen this in years, but upon watching this, it is a weaker episode, so I'm really surprised by Robert Bloch. But I think with what you were talking about, how some of the lines, the way it was written, that were good for the characters, I think that may have been the contributions of Dorothy Fontana. So I think she's the one that probably helped smooth this out and make it a little more palatable, perhaps.
She's lending her magic early here. That's great.
Yeah, because she is credited as a co-writer. So I think that's one of the things that really helped. It's too bad we get all the cast, but it's too bad, Scotty and Sulu, very good screen time, but very little lines. But it was still good to see them. And it was nice to see them as heavies for a change. So I thought that was kind of a good change up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, I would say C+, B-, B-.
Yeah, it's really difficult to give Star Trek a bad grade. It's not really that bad. It's just not really that great.
Right. There's episodes that are a lot better, but there's a lot of shows that are a lot worse. So I'll definitely.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, if we start comparing them to other shows, every episode of Star Trek gets an A+.
Well, and I said to you just when we were backstage before we started, this is like the original series version of Sub Rosa. It's a spooky Halloween gothic episode, but it's still better than Sub Rosa.
That elevates this episode too.
Oh no!
What? Really? Oh no! You're not. Oh my god. My stream element spot wanted you to remember to subscribe to Donnie Pearson, and Kronos is telling us that Pearson just lost his father. That's awful.
That's terrible. Sorry to hear that.
So if you guys see him around, give him your condolences. That is
I can't even imagine.
terrible. Admiral Teague says they're affected by the emotions of having more human-like bodies. They become more emotional, more hedonistic.
Yeah, Sylvia's hot to trot.
And he says, I think that's a perfectly reasonable pronunciation for telekinesis.
Telekinesis.
Oh, you're right. Admiral Teague is a fan of mispronunciations.
True.
Gorilla's Random Thought says automatic F because we didn't get He's Dead, Jim. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. But I'm glad I did read back because I didn't notice that important information. Admiral Teague says to Franco Walker, all right, okay, I read that one too. And Admiral Teague says, episodes like this. Oh man, I don't want to talk about Picard, but I think I read that already. Daniel's Hot Topics is here. Hey, Daniel's
Daniel.
Hot Topics. And Admiral Teague says, I liked him as Bester. I ask if anyone knows if Walter Koenig has ever acted in Star Trek with his real hair. My instinct says no. Yes, when he grows out his hair, Admiral Teague. But Admiral Teague also likes seeing everybody in wigs.
Because it's Straker?
Yeah, because it's Straker. That's
Okay,
where I'm
makes sense.
coming from with that. Oiler Greg wants to see the Enterprise decorated for Halloween. And Admiral Teague says, I would have taken Sylvia's deal. She's hot. And she likely has magic sex powers.
Yeah. It's one of those things where Sylvia's trying to seduce Kirk and you're using me. And why not? You've been using me and my crew. I like the resistance that Kirk shows.
Yes.
And Oiler Greg is correct. Kirk plays on his charms once again. Well, when you're that charming, why waste it?
I mean, it works perfectly well here.
Yeah.
Dalek451 says, although the only student we see with a pet toad is Neville Longbottom, Harry Potter himself, of course, has his beautiful snowy owl, Hedwig. Yes. Rest in peace, Hedwig.
What? Spoilers?
Spoilers for a movie from a long time ago.
Yes.
Admiral Teague says, it's because I have to watch every episode 5 times. That's definitely not why. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, now I know what you're talking about. I'd rather watch Catspaw 5 times over than what you're watching 5 times over, Admiral Teague. Oiler Greg says, Kirk has fallen for shape-shifting women before.
And will again. Martia. Oh, right. Sorry, I just got reminded of Star Trek 6 for some reason. Anyway.
Mark Harkness says, curious as to whether the cat in this episode is the same that appears later in Assignment Earth. Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Is that the same kitty?
I don't know. The cat doesn't have a credit on IMDb. Otherwise, I would look it up.
Well, they're both obviously trained cats, and they're both black cats. Right?
Yes.
There's no IMDb. We don't know the name of the cat. We always know the name of the dog.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's an
Species.
internet movie cat database.
And it's possible the trainer was under contract with the studio, so it's very likely that it may be the same cat.
That's a good deduction. I'd like to figure that out someday. Admiral Teague says, I only have 15 hours of watching Picard left before the end of the run. It's almost over. What sucks is Nemesis is now the most important movie I have to rewatch.
You do it to yourself. You do. And that's why it really hurts.
But so do we.
I know, but I'm not watching Nemesis for anything.
Franco Walker says, Jill's lost control of the book. I did. I lost control of this episode. What happened in it? It was an episode. Admiral Teague says, in a lot of ways, Sylvia and Koloth are the most different and truly alien aliens we ever see. They are so bizarre and strange.
The Horta.
Yeah, and what about those fish people on TNG?
They're fish.
Who?
Well, but I'm just going by on the original series. And what about like the rock monster from Savage Curtain? That was a pretty alien.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is definitely in like the top 5 aliens.
Absolutely. The Comic Relief Crusader says more proof that cats are asses.
Cats are jerks.
Yeah, they're jerks, but it's an exchange. They're jerks, but they're less maintenance at the same time.
Cats
So
are
that's the
triples with
payoff.
legs.
Stark of Iron Tony says, one
Hey,
day
Tony.
I'll have a Tuesday evening to catch you live. And they couldn't afford a retake, says Franco Walker. Admiral Teague says, I have an obligation to watch it 3 times. I'm still hoping it turns things around, but we're running out of time now. Really? You're still hoping that?
Why 3 times and not 1?
Because he really wants to be able to arm himself with the knowledge of the episode front and back so he can argue against it or for it if it happens to be good. But there's nothing good in it so far.
Yeah, it sounds like torture.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be something in it. They had Farpoint jellyfish, but for what reason? No reason. We don't ever see them again. As a cat person, I approve of this episode, says Tony.
Admiral Teague says the Desilu people had themselves do something.
Just self-destruct, like in Mission Impossible tapes.
And Scotty, king of recaps. I'm gonna have him write my recaps now. We're just gonna have to go through the slides really fast.
Yes.
Weapons, target stream elements, engines, and bridge. Prepare to destroy any escape pods.
Pod Racing Palpatine, hello there.
Hello, Pod Racing Palpatine. And Admiral Teague says Sylvia simply fell in love with the handsome Captain Kirk. Who could blame her?
Do you think she had any inappropriate times with Scotty or Sulu?
I know.
Or was she just swooning over Jim?
I don't know.
I think she saw Scotty and Sulu more like pawns. It seemed like she wasn't really attracted to any of them until she came along with, or met Kirk, perhaps.
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, she was trying to warn the Enterprise away from the planet.
I wonder if she tried to get down with Korab, and Korab was like, no, Sylvia, that's not why we're here indulging in our corporeal beings. These sensations are aliens. And Sylvia was like, all right, well, I got to find some D.
Well, you're the expert here, Scotty.
All right. So that's what I think happened.
Gorilla's Random Thought says, is this going to be a short review? I guess so. I guess I didn't have a whole lot to say about this one. It's not my fault. It's the episode. But I don't hate it. It's like by no means the worst Star Trek episode ever. It's fun, but that's it. And then it's done.
Fun and done.
Mark Harkness says the action on the bridge was better with Kirk. Oh wait, the action on the bridge was better than with Kirk.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I liked the operations that were going on. Although again, the planet side stuff was fun too. I liked it. Oh yeah, it's still a B plus, B minus, B. I almost gave it a B plus there.
Ooh, B plus.
I got to take it back. It's a B or a B.
You got to have a lot of real love for it somewhere in your past. Like, were you nostalgic for it when you were a kid? Were you like, oh, Catspaw, no, I'm gonna, because you actually watched this when you were little.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did. And the big revisiting it, I still like Sylvia's a smoke show. Like I really like Sylvia. So yeah, I think that's also part of the reason why I'm giving it in the B range.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Admiral Teague says, well, can you read this, Scotty?
Sure, they do. In this episode, he's using her feelings against her. Kirk was using his own sexuality and masculinity to affect Sylvia's judgment. True.
Yep.
And I love the outburst that she gives. I will destroy you, your men, your ship, your worlds. It's just like such a great outburst.
That's true. Tony gives it a B. Thank you,
Yay.
Tony. Franco Walker says, it's like the gamesters of Trickskelion. Kirk kisses the girl, then knocks her up.
That is an unfortunate cross. Right cross that he does, yeah. Franco Walker, I give this episode a D. Sylvia would like you.
Yeah. Tony says, the scene when Sylvia jumps Kirk, though, A+.
Bing. Absolutely.
And it's always good to remember to donate to the Bunny Trail Rescue.
Mm-hmm.
And Admiral Teague says, I gave it an A+ because it's fun for the whole family. Like Star Trek is supposed to be. If you're spending your time rewatching what you're rewatching so many times, basically every original series episode gets an A+. Gorella's Random Thought says, this is not the real Jill, because if it was, she'd be rushing everyone along because she has to go. I couldn't finish it. Okay, so yeah, usually I have a mountain of things to say about an episode, but what happened this time? I'm sorry. I let you guys down.
No, you're fine.
Pod Racing Palpatine says, even Spock's brain gets an A+ compared to modern TV.
I agree, yes.
All of modern TV.
Maybe not all of modern TV, but all modern Star Trek, definitely.
Sure.
I think of modern TV and I think of reality TV. It's just like, oh, I'll pass.
They are separate things, though. Not
Although
all TV
reality
is
TV
reality TV.
But reality TV is scripted.
Yes, it
yeah,
is. Reality is scripted, but
It's just a way to be able to not pay actors and just have people who are not actors and pay them less
right.
in scale.
Yeah, ultra
for a
low
cheaper
budget in
show.
every way. Yeah, videotape, ultra low budget. I mean, it's not a fan. I'm not
But
a
I think
fan.
of some of, like, having gone through some of the trash that is coming out today. Like, if you have problems with any of the Star Wars TV shows or the Marvel TV shows or even the Star Trek shows, like, I'm still really looking forward to the new season of The Boys. Like, I think that that's fantastic. And it's watching like Mad Men or Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad. Like, there are some really, really good modern television shows.
And two of those written by Vince Gilligan, who knows how to write a story. And when he makes a series, he has overarching stories, but he plans out all of the seasons in advance, so he knows the end game of what he's presenting. And so that's why Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are actually good.
Yes.
The Reacher TV show, like, there's still some good stuff coming out. It just doesn't necessarily pick the bones of previous IPs.
And they shouldn't have to do that. I prefer it when they try to be original, but I guess it's more profitable just to take from the past.
Name brand recognition.
Dalek 451, did you see my... Yeah, I did. I was just finishing my review and I didn't realize I was making such good time. Pod Racing Palpatine says, those aren't wigs. They're tribbles. They've infiltrated early. Admiral Teague says, I was wrong about Straker. He merely overbleached his hair. Clobby himself told me. Oh, right, because on Clobbering Times, if you subscribe to Clobbering Times and check out their Thursday show, the Clubhouse, Clobby's Clubhouse, they're reviewing all of the UFO episodes every week. And so that's where Admiral Teague learned that Straker is not wearing a wig. Hooray. Phantom Boomer says, I think Walter was in the Axnar fan film without a wig.
I think so too. I think he showed up in a couple of fan films and he's like from the future and he doesn't wear a wig. But yeah, if you've never seen interviews with them, male pattern baldness.
Mhm. And Phantom Boomer wants to crowdfund new eyeballs for the Admiral.
No. This is a Larry Hagman situation. This is, you did it to yourself. You don't need to watch it 5 times. 2 will be good. 2's fine.
2, yeah. Well, I just watch it once and then go over the script.
Yeah. And I
It's
watch it.
interesting to do it that way because you can feel the manipulation of your first watch, and you can compare and
Yeah.
contrast it to the dry reading of the script.
Yeah, and I watch it once to watch it, and I watch it second time just to grab the stills for it, and that does me plenty.
Mhm. Dalek451 says, that really shocked and saddened me when I read it in the last book. Yeah, me too. Well, that was the most important first death in the last bit of the series there.
Hedwig?
Yeah, Hedwig. Sacrificing, or wait a minute. In the movies, she sacrifices herself, so it's not as hurtful. But in the books, she kind of just dies almost a meaningless death. She's just there and she gets murdered, and it's like worse that way. Because J.K. Rowling doesn't coddle children in her writing.
She died suddenly like Tasha Yar.
Yeah.
Wikipedia, list of fictional cats in television, a real thing. Thank you, Phantom Boomer.
Nice. Gorilla's Random Thought says, to answer the cat question, yes, they're the same cat named
Yay.
Iris and have the same owner. Thank you, Gorilla.
Very
That
cool.
question was bothering me, and I didn't think I was getting an answer. But this chat is so amazing.
Pussycat trivia.
Hooray. So this is the same cat that later Spock is going to appreciate. Admiral Teague says, I'm somewhat of a fan of TNG fish person Mick Fleetwood's work.
Me too.
Yeah. He was very good at being very hungry.
What a handsome race.
Yeah. Worf has discerning taste. And alien and handsomeness. Admiral Teague says, because I want to be fair.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Gorilla. That was great. Admiral Teague says, guys, I got news for you. No one ever said Beverly Crusher wasn't descended from James T. Kirk. What? Why would you say?
I don't understand.
I don't understand either. What is Admiral Teague? You're watching too much of the filth. Back away. Take a break. Franco Walker says Picard will either finish with a whimper or else everybody will die. One or the other. Yeah, well, you know what? Terry loves death and destruction and chaos and misery. So I wouldn't doubt that you're wrong.
I just really can't abide bringing back Ro to kill her.
That's what happened.
I know, and
She's
I didn't
gone.
like it. She's dead, yo. Spoilers.
And well, we never got confirmation on whether her ridges were actually prosthetic or if they were just.
You know, I did see her in a
CGI.
makeup chair. I think it was just bad lighting. Like, that was the thing. And after I watched
That's this
the
whole
Ro,
show.
I know, but after I watched the Ro episode, I went and I watched the last episode with Ro in it, the second last episode of Next Generation, and it was much more pronounced. So either they sort of subtled the ridges or they just couldn't light it worth crap.
Yeah. No.
Or maybe both.
Because Kira, like, by contrast, Nana Visitor's ridges always look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
In any light. So I think there might have been a problem with the prosthetics, too. Like, somebody didn't get the notes. They didn't get... Oh, what's the name of that makeup artist? Who does all...
Michael Westmore.
Thank you, Michael Westmore. They didn't get any consultation from Michael Westmore. Or something. I have no idea what happened there. Or maybe they just thought, it's Bajoran, it's just lines, we can do it without his help. Like, because They did a better job with Worf.
Well, I think that's one of the things when Dorn comes back, he always says, okay, shave half an hour off of the makeup chair. I know that was a big deal when, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I know that was a big deal when he went on to Deep Space Nine. He was like, yeah, I'll join up, but you guys have to make sure that the prosthetics don't take 3 hours in the morning.
Mm-hmm. And even when they did shorten it down, when O'Brien had to do it, when Colmeany had to do it, it was torture for him. Grella's Random Thought says, any question ChatGPT can answer, even if it tells you to take a toaster bath when you piss it off. I've never made ChatGPT so angry that it tells me to commit violence on myself. So that's good.
I still haven't even used ChatGPT.
I ask it some questions every once in a while, but not very much.
It's overrated.
Yeah. But I just like talking to bots. I enjoy artificial intelligence, and it's fun for me.
That's why we're friends.
Dalek451 says, is this your shortest review yet, Jill? Yes, absolutely. I can't believe how short it is. Is it Plomeek or Shore Leave this Friday? It's going to be Plomeek tea time. I'm going to talk about Spartacus, because my name is stuck as Spartacus for 2 weeks.
I can't wait to watch it. I don't know if I've ever seen it before.
I've never seen it, but I hear good things.
Admiral Teague says there are 3 episodes worse than Spock's brain. Well, I know the alternative factor has to be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe All Our Yesterdays.
I don't know what we'll have to ask him.
Yeah, I need closure on that anecdote.
And Dalek says, by that comparison, I'd watch Cullen Baker at his worst over ever watching Whittaker's stuff again. That's right.
That's a brilliant choice. I would also join you in that rewatch.
I know. I haven't gotten past season 3 yet, so I'm in the new Who stuff. I'm working on it. I got up to the episode where the artificially intelligent car is murdering people, so I need to watch that episode and move on from there.
Nice.
And Admiral Teague reminds us that Vince Gilligan was an X-Files writer. Yes, that's where he got his start. And also where we first see the star of Breaking Bad. What's his name?
Oh, I forget. I should remember. He was in Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. Walter White.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston.
There he is.
Oh, wait. Go ahead.
Stark Myron says The Boys has some woke elements in it, but most of it is tongue-in-cheek commentary that pokes fun at it. And that's like watching The Boys. I think that it pokes fun at both camps, if you will, and so I really enjoy it. You never know who they're going to poke at next.
I like the first. I think there's been 3 seasons of The Boys. I think
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the first season, and then 2 was kind of woke, and 3 I thought was like a rehash of the show Heroes, where they were all just talking about banding together to get the one bad guy, and I kind of tuned out. I wasn't a fan of the 3rd season. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I saw the first episode and I was like, this is intriguing, and I stopped watching.
It just reminded me of Heroes, and that was such an extreme letdown that I just didn't want to go there again.
Franco Walker is waiting for season 2 of Tulsa King.
I think it's been canceled. That's the one with Sylvester Stallone. That show's been officially canceled.
There's something weird about Stallone being in a TV show. I just have an opinion of him as being a movie star, and seeing him on TV is kind of... I haven't seen Tulsa King, and I've heard that it's good, but it's just to see to see Stallone in episodic television is a weird thing for me.
Yeah, I was gonna watch it until I heard it was canceled, and I thought I better not.
Well, shorter watch time.
Yeah, but I think it might end on a cliffhanger.
Tony says, fun fact, the captain's toupee is a taxidermy tribble. And when the tribbles were all beamed away, it was removed. Kirk panicked for a whole cycle. Sadly, the fate of that toupee is conjectured to have continued in Picard as an attack model. Oh my goodness. That's very creative. But there's no such thing as attack tribbles. That is so ridiculous.
Well, wasn't there a predator in More Troubles, More Tribbles?
Yeah, but those were the
Glommer.
Those are the creatures. Yeah, the glommers. They were created to eat the tribbles. Now tribbles can eat each other. And yeah, thanks Federation scientists for creating that abomination for no reason.
Yeah.
Admiral Teague says, best UFO uniforms are the guys on the submarine. Someone explain that. Ooh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I know it. I agree with you. Tony says, I have no explanation.
The nightclub mesh shirts?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's really practical when they have to go scuba diving and wear those wetsuits.
I guess.
And remember to subscribe to King Dolphin TV. He's always got something fun going on.
Yeah.
Admiral Teague says, predicts scene of Roe beaming to safety exists just in case. They only killed her for financial reasons. Pop Culture Curator, could you read this? I want to eat a cracker. I'm going to be away for a minute.
Okay.
Stark of Iron in the chat says, we are the stream elements. Your technology and physiology will be added to our own. Lower your shields and surrender your ships.
Hey, Edge of Time is here. Skydiver is the sub, and it's transport, I believe. And Tony says, I asked Chat GPT if I could play White Rabbit while taking a toaster bath. It said only when the chorus hits. You want me to throw the toaster? You want me to throw the radio into the bath at the peak of White Rabbit? All right, close your eyes. Little Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas reference. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. Phantom Boomer says, which Spartacus? The TV movie with Kirk or the movie with Kirk Douglas? The Kirk Douglas one, the Kubrick.
The only real one, yes.
Well, yeah, I've never, yeah.
Yeah, but you can bypass the TV version, obviously.
I would think so, yeah. Franco says, when you want to use Chat GPT, you have to sign your life over to it. Oh, is there like you got to set up like an account or something?
No thanks.
I've never used it.
You do have to sign up.
Okay. Oh, and what do we got? Admiral Teague says the one is children shall lead, the other is patterns of force.
So
I like both of those. Well, no, not
you like children shall lead?
No, I don't like the children shall lead.
The only part of that episode I like is the ice cream.
Oh, right, I forgot. Yes, the ice cream.
I think that's fun. But if you do use ChatGPT, do not give it any personal information.
Or it'll start spouting off your personal information to other people that are asking it questions.
And Phantom Boomer says Mayor of Kingston is good. What's Mayor of Kingston? I don't know.
I do not know.
Franco Walker says, bloody typical. Every time I like something, they cancel it.
And every time we hate something, they renew it.
Oh, weird. Sorry, Franco. Frank says, but toupees have no teeth. It's true. Tony says, speaking of cats, I'm a lucid dreamer, but I let last night's dream play a bit. My old cat came home, only to tell me that it didn't die, but went to help its new human with stocks and finances.
If I was dreaming, I would have had the cat turn into Sylvia.
That's a nice idea.
Isn't it?
Frankel Walker says to Mark Harkness, of course they do. How do you think they stay on your head?
They got to bite down.
Admiral Teague says, Spartacus is the tale of an early Vulcan observation mission. Oh, maybe I can think of it in that way. I will try to frame it.
Oh.
Exciting. Tony says, enter at your own peril, past the bolted door where toys and figures await. None ever seen before in Andy's laboratory. So subscribe to Andy Masterson, the Laboratory of Mayhem. Hooray! And this was to the tune of Dexter's Lab, despite my terrible singing. Bantam Boomer says, Mayor of Kingston, starring Jeremy Renner on Paramount Plus. Crime drama.
Oh. And apparently, Jeremy Renner is recovering nicely.
Oh, he's recovering from what?
Oh, he had a bad accident with a snowplow, if you'll believe it, and so, yeah, he was quite badly hurt. But he's been sending updates via his Twitter, I think, maybe Instagram. I don't do that. And yeah, he was showing him on the mend, just for the fans. So we wish him an even speedier recovery.
Well, that's good. What a freak accident.
It was very strange.
Franco Walker says ChatGPT has already leaked other people's questions online. Yep, I don't doubt it, so don't tell it anything you wouldn't say to the entire internet. Treat it like Twitter. The Comic Relief Crusader says, meow! And Stark of Iron says, I want to do a full song for that now. Yeah, you should. I like it. Phantom Boomer says, Jeremy got run over with his own snowplow. But that's our chat. And we still got a poll here. So let's check it out.
Is there a poll? Oh.
Yeah, there's a poll.
Nice. Wait. Let me see. Perhaps today's review had a little too much alacrity.
It did. Well, I just didn't have a whole lot to say about it. Normally I can't stop talking about an episode, apparently. But it was like, yeah, they're still, at least all the characters are still themselves. And it's not their fault. They landed on a planet where aliens were just hanging out. They didn't really do much.
Ooh,
they kind of just wanted to learn about stuff, so it's kind of sad they died.
Well, weren't they an advanced invasion force?
Were they invading?
I thought that they were.
Okay, yeah, I guess they kidnapped the crew and made them zombies, so that's not benevolent.
Well, Corb says they could have been, if it wasn't for Sylvia, they could have been peaceful.
Yeah. So he would have led the mission differently if she hadn't taken over. I wonder what that would have looked like. But we have 23 votes on Catspaw. So we'll end that there. And we got actually a very good score for Catspaw. We got 43% give it an A.
Wow.
34% give it a B. 13% a C. And 8% a D to an F. So that's actually very, very good.
Yeah.
There's so much love for the original series Star Trek that it's really hard to take it down now because of how awesome it is in general.
Yeah, people are more forgiving, and I can understand that. It deserves it.
Mm-hmm. It does. And Mark Harkness says tribbles, however, probably have some strong digestive enzymes, since they did eat Kirk's chicken sandwich. They may even have a paralyzing purr. Yeah, and they can also handle coffee.
Yep.
And the Stark of Iron, Tony needs to refill his songbook. And Frank Walker thanks us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care of everyone, and much love to you all. Dalek451 says, I gave it a B because I only just remember it. Admiral Teague says, Koroth and Sylvia were never going to pull off that mission once they took on human bodies. I guess I wonder why they couldn't handle the atmosphere of the planet in their normal form. Maybe they should have worn spacesuits.
Itty bitty little spacesuits.
That would have been cute.
It would have
Then
been
we could have talked to them.
What's the name? Sorry, what's the name of the Fallout monkey? Jangles the moon monkey whenever you go into a place?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would have been cool. They would have looked like little moon monkeys.
Okay. So there's our poll. Good poll.
Great.
So happy. So I guess we have lots of time to thank the panel here. Thank you, Scotty R37 and Pop Culture Curator.
Well, thank you, Jill.
You're welcome.
Always fun. I do like watching things I like.
I know. I do like it. I do like the show. I love the show even.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pop Culture Curator, what do you have going on this week?
Well, tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be covering The Incredible Shrinking Man on our horror sci-fi stream. If anyone is out there that is interested, please join us. Tomorrow, Gorilla's Random Thoughts and myself will cover Gilligan's Island. We'll be covering season 2, episodes 3 and 4. We finally reached the color episode, so we're happy for that. Next Monday, we will be covering episode 4, season 1 of Lost in Space. And I have a random stream of rumblings from the lab coming up this week. I think I have a topic in mind. Thank you, Jill. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. How about you, Scotty? What's happening? Do we even know?
I don't know, man. We got to figure out which one, or if we're doing The Leap or if we're doing Bald Spaceman on Thursday. But Wednesday is hammered out for sure. We're definitely going to be talking about 2002 Spider-Man because, again, I just love watching things that I like. And that's why I want to go back to Quantum Leap, because I want to watch things that I like. But we've already gone 7 episodes into Picard.
I know, but I'm kind of a completionist. I don't like it, but I want to finish it.
Then I guess we'll do Picard.
But next Thursday, you got to do your anniversary James Bond thing.
Yeah, it's going to be the 70th anniversary of the publication of Casino Royale. I'm looking forward to covering that because the first time we reviewed the movie Casino Royale, I was schmammered. So Kat wants to redo it, and we're doing that, which is going to be great fun. And also, I almost forgot, tomorrow is First Contact Day.
Yes. That's why we're going to hang out and talk about First Contact.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
It's
going to be more of a chill stream, I think, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're doing that tomorrow around same time as today?
Sure. Sounds good.
Great.
And so I'll leave you guys with the preview for the next episode, Metamorphosis.
Cool.
Yeah.
Federation Commissioner, what's her name? I guess we'll find out next week. And Dalek says, when did you last do Quantum Leap? It feels like forever. It does feel like forever. And it's been 7 weeks. Nearly 8.
Too long. But Tony says the shrinking man, giant cats will continue the attack today.
Yep, giant cats and giant spiders, everybody.
And somebody needs to watch Team America too.
Are we watching Team America?
No,
Oh,
somebody
I'd
else
love
needs
to.
do it.
I'd love to.
I never had my Enterprise this entire time. Or this one. Oops.
There he is. Oh, there she is.
Mhm.
And not so wounded as we were led to believe.
There she is. There she is.
Yay! Nancy Hedford. Thank you, Mark Harkness. Federation. Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week because it's been a while since I've seen.
Well, let's check it out, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you
Cheers,
for
you.
hanging out. Thank you so much for talking about Star Trek with me today.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you, everybody. And great turnout in the chat. Good to see you all.
Yes.
Hit the like button, by the way.
Thank you.
Ship's log. Lieutenant Commander Scott recording an absence of Captain Kirk. The shuttlecraft Galileo is now definitely overdue for its rendezvous with the Enterprise.
Captain, what's happening? I demand to know.
We've got to get Miss Hedford back to the Enterprise.
We'll do what we can when we can. At the moment, we're helpless.
Holmes, get a physiological reading on that, whatever it is.
Would you please explain exactly what this companion of yours is?
I told you, I don't know what it is. You'll find I have a very low tolerance level where the safety of my people are concerned. We find you out here where no human has any business being.
No, I don't want to die.
It will scramble every electrical impulse the creature can produce.
Exciting.